And we are live at Friday Night Showdown, and it is time, Cowboys. I'll tell you what, some more racing coming our way. Tonight we are at Bristol Motor Speedway, short track style, here with the Friday Night Showdown. In the booth tonight, Michael Keaton, Michael Conti, Matthew Close joining us tonight. Braden Oakley, first time on ETV Live tonight. He'll be calling the action from pit road with Dalton England tonight. So a couple of new guys in the house tonight. We're going to rock them down, Cowboy. So let's go on up to the booth with Michael Keaton, Michael Conti, and Matthew Close. Take it away, boys.
Hey, race fans. Welcome to the world's fastest half mile. And, Mike, I understand we got some points battling going on here with John Adams leading them on top.
Well, yeah, Mike, this is going to be a point in the season where it's going to be a big change because John Adams will not be returning to the Friday Night Showdown. Last week at Talladega was his last race. He's got a different job now, so that's going to interfere. So John Adams will not be your points leader after this race. So Richard Doucette, Brandon Bowie, David Cater, Chad Lawton, those guys right there that round out your top five, they will be vying tonight to take that top spot away from John Adams.
And I tell you what, with Bristol tonight and Atlanta next week, man, I tell you, it's starting to shape up for a good year. And like you said, with John Adams dropping out, and also too, I'm hearing that maybe some of the other guys that's been running the league this year also going to just drop out midway here and allowing some of the newcomers to have a chance and have a shot at some points here.
Well, I know that Wheelmen Incorporated, which again is Jared Crawford, Jason Karlovich, John Adams, Rich Doucette, Cater, and Lawton, about half that team will not be running tonight at Bristol. Bristol, Mike, you and me both know it's a very tough track on equipment. These guys, you get a couple drop weeks along the way. So instead of going out there tonight and maybe getting involved in a wreck, they're just going to sit it out and try to prepare better for next week at Atlanta. We know that those cars are really good on the intermediate track, so I'm sure that they'll be putting most of their time and effort into Atlanta and the intermediate tracks that will follow Atlanta on the schedule.
Yeah, and Mike, there's no secret to the banking here and how the cars drive here too. And a lot of these guys know that. They know it's that one groove surface up there, and if you can't get there and run up there, or someone runs too close, you can be taken out in just a matter of minutes or seconds. And that's what keeps a lot of people from probably coming to this track. It's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, it's really tough to pass, like you said. The only way to pass is for someone to screw up in front of you. Unless you're much faster than the guy that is directly in front of you that you're trying to pass, it's really virtually impossible to get around on the bottom. But if your car is good enough, you will be able to pull it off. But right now, Mike, I'm looking at these point standings, and like you said, with John Adams not running tonight, there's even more than the top five that can really leapfrog over John. And if you want to start it off, maybe we can go down the standings for everyone listening.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, John Adams is on top, but just for temporarily. Richard Doucette sitting second. Brandon Bowie running third position in points. David Cater, a guy that's been around for a long time, running fourth in points. And Chad Lawton running fifth.
And after Lawton, it's Anthony Kernick. We haven't seen a lot of him this season. He's been pretty quiet, but he's always there. Matthew Spangler, 37 behind. Mike Hepburn is an 8th, 39 behind. And I'm looking right here, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th are all 39 points back. So Hepburn, Segler, Scribner, CV, and Jarl are all 39 back. So all these guys are in a fierce fight to get into that top 10. And, only the top 10 are money-paying positions, so those guys are really going to try to leapfrog each other tonight and make up some points and lock themselves into the top 10, at least for this week anyway.
And we mentioned Jared Crawford probably done with the series here. He's sitting 13th in points. Just behind him, Jeff Ramsdale, who's lost 4 points, or four spots in the points. He was 10th last week. He's sitting 14th. Darcy Laney running 15th in the points. And Steven, who's had a string of bad luck running in some of these B-class races on Friday nights. He's sitting 16th in the points, and Chris E. Pence, Mike, is sitting 17th.
Yeah, and then you've got Samuel Snead Jr. down here, 52 back. Back behind him, surprisingly, is Jason Karlovich, really the lowest of all of his teammates right now, low man in the totem pole this season so far. But there's plenty of time to make that up. Again, I don't foresee him being in the race tonight, but again, there's a lot of weeks after this one. I believe there's 9 races left after tonight at Bristol, so plenty of time to make that up. And then rounding out your top 20, Mike, is Lionel, who's 54 back. I haven't really seen a lot from him this season yet, but you know, it looks like Kalisto is there in 20th position and just really flying under the radar. But there's a lot of guys that have come out for the season so far in the first 3 weeks, and to be top 20 at this point is a big accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, speaking of accomplishments, Conti, there's 2 guys sitting in the top 10 right now. I'm going to name them, David Cater and Matthew Spangler. Cater's sitting 4th. Mike, he came all the way from 19th spot in the points, sitting 4th now, and Spangler all the way from 25th up 18 points into 7th. So congratulations to those guys getting into the top 10, and job well done. They had a really good finishes last week for them, and points are really shaping up pretty good, Conti.
They definitely are, Mike. And right now, a couple minutes before race time, I'm going to send it down to the Cactus Cuties and the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, we are back, race fans. Bristol Motor Speedway, fastest half mile in racing, Mike. And tell you what, we're going to bring them through the grid here. Starting on the pole for tonight's big event, Greg McKinney. And on the outside of him, Justin Brooks and the One Machine.
Now, mind you, Keaton, Justin Brooks, he has not been able to run this series the past couple weeks because he had a pedal problem. His pedals broke on him, so it looks like he's finally got his pedals back. He's the #1 ranked driver in here tonight, so Justin Brooks starting second with a 1471. Starting in third position, Armando Vargas in the 10 car, and starting outside of him, Alexia Loma in the #5 with a time of a 1472. And Mike, that's only 4 100ths off the pole. This field is really close tonight.
Yeah, they really are. And rolling off fifth in that third row, Matthew Wright. Outside of him, we named him in the points. He's running good all year long. He's in the #16 Chevrolet. That's Alex Scribner.
There we go. Justin Kirby in the 18 car, starting 7th. I haven't seen that name around in a while. Good to see him back. And starting outside of him, the 22 is Stephen Landry.
Jeffrey Parker in that 21 machine going to start 9th. And outside him, Matthew Spangler in the number 19 in 10th.
I believe the one and only Gary Mercer trucking car tonight. Brad Mahar in the 4 starting 11th, and outside of him, the number 12, a regular here in this series, Stephen Azeni.
And then 13th position rolling off, Dylan Landry. Rolling off 14th tonight, Nick Zaltner.
Starting 15th is Jeff Ramsdell with a 15.06, and Jake Petrella will be starting outside of him in 16th with a 15.09. Jake Petrella, the last car tonight to take a time on the half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway.
And that's going to bring up some of the guys here that's going to have to make their moves to the front, Michael Conti, if you know what I'm talking about. Sitting in the number 2 machine, starting 17th tonight, Devin Hall. In the number 3, Brandon Bowie, who's no stranger to the B-Class races on Friday nights.
Definitely. We see Bowie each and every week, and he's always strong. Got a lot of ground to make up tonight, but I'm sure he can do it. Starting 19th is Danny Hansen. He's got my setup up under him tonight. Look for him to get to the front. Outside of him, the number 8, John Bunton.
And in the last row, starting in 21st, the number 11 machine, Chris Seymour. And outside him, in the number 22 position, Mike, is going to be Jake Pulin.
So there you have it. 22 cars tonight taking this track, and like we've covered a lot tonight so far, it's very hard to pass. So 22 cars around this half-mile bullring. We're going to see some cautions tonight. Not sure how many, but we're just going to have to wait and see here. Pace car is going to pull off. McKinney gets a good jump. Here comes McKinney. He's going to clear the second place car, Justin Brooks, and get to the outside lane, which is going to be the preferred lane here tonight, Mike.
It definitely is, and so far so good, Mike. Good clean start for most of the field all the way back. Everybody pretty much finding their momentum, finding their groove. We got a wreck, 13 spinning in 3, Mike.
I'm looking right here. 20 car also with a problem. It looks like the 20 has exited the server, or he blinked out, might have had a connection problem, but the 13 of Landry was around off turn 4. Now I see the 20 back on the track, damaged. It looks like the 20 lagged actually into the 13, a little bit of a connection problem for the 20, that's Jeff Ramsdell, turned the 13 around. 13 will get away with this with no damage, Mike, but the 20, he's really bent up. I think that might be the end of his night, at least competitively, anyway.
Yeah, some sort of electrical deal going on with him, Mike. Jeff Ramsdell started 15th today, and man, talking about an early exit, just 2 laps into this 120 lapper, man, you already got one guy that's completely out of it, smoking, and like you said, is that a crab walk?
Yeah, that's yeah, that signals that he's done. He's still having connection problems. I think it'd be best for him just to park that car right now. Again, you know, we're gonna a little math lesson here. Since he's the number 20 in this field of 22 cars, if he parks it right now, he's not going to lose a lot of I rating, and he'll probably minimize the safety rating loss too, because Mike, if he goes back out there with that car, more than likely he's going to be swept up in something else. So if I were Ramsdell right now, I would just park that thing, head to the garage, and maybe join as a spectator and just watch this thing unfold. But I would not bring that car back out onto the track at this point.
But here's the alternative to that. Jeff Ramsdell being in the number 20 machine, getting a top 10, top 5, or even maybe winning this race. Talk about a huge I rating gain. I tell you what, Stephen Landry's that guy who's sitting 20 in the 22nd car, started 8th tonight, and running 8th right now. Mike, he's got a good shot at gaining some points here tonight.
And that's really the nice thing. I mean, a guy like Landry or Parker, normally on a Friday night race like this, those guys are dominating the second splits, but because this is a smaller strength of field this week, because we have less guys coming out, I don't see any of Jared Crawford's team out here tonight, so I said half of them. There's none of them. So like we mentioned earlier, that opens up the door for some guys that, like I said, are normally in that second split doing very well. So this is their chance tonight to make their name and really do something special here on ETV Live at Bristol. And I'm not sure I would want to make my top split debut at Bristol the way it is right now, but you know, why not make your debut at the hardest track? If you can run Bristol, Mike, you can pretty much run virtually anywhere else.
Yeah, and you said it right about those guys like Landry, Parker, Spangler. The guys that's way back. Just sit tight. Just let the track and let the race unfold in front of you. Let whatever happens happens. We already got one guy out, Jeff Ramsdale, falling victim to an electrical problem, hitting the wall. Also, the 13 machine, like we mentioned, Dylan Landry getting involved. I think he's okay. We might send it down here to pit road in a minute just to verify that, but. If I'm these guys in the back, Conti, I'm being patient and I'm letting it unfold.
Right. If I'm in the back, I would not push anything right now because there really is no reason to, because you're not going to make up a lot of spots because track position is so important. Just like you said, sit in the back, wait for the wrecks to unfold, and JD Webb just told me, Mike, that Jeff Ramsdale has a 783 ping. So now it's climbing. So what that means is his car might be on the bottom of the track on your screen, but you might be on the top of the track on his. So that will not make for good racing tonight. But it looks like Jeff has parked it, at least until his internet connections get figured out. But they are going back green here, Mike.
Yep, just completed lap number 8 here. Justin Brooks. Oh, and the wall, Conti.
Now, what happened right there was Justin was trying to get to the preferred groove out there. McKinney didn't want anything of that, and just shoved him in the wall. Brooks is not pleased about that right now, but that's just a product of what you're going to get here. Everyone's going to be fighting for that top. I'm going to take my eyes back here to Alex Scribner in the 16. He was trying to make a move on Eduardo Vargas on the bottom, but again, he could not complete that pass, so he just got right back up into the freight train on the top and is going to hold his position as we have another caution on the track right now, Mike.
Trying to figure out exactly what caused that caution. 17 car, I'm hearing, Conti.
It looks like the Lilly Trucking 17 car, Jake Poulin back there, had a little bit of a stack up in front of him, maybe too much rear brake and just looped it around. Did not hit anything though. Almost hit a car,
Awfully close.
But it's okay. Awfully close indeed. They did a great job of avoiding him, but no damage on that 17. He'll probably come down here, maybe take 4 tires and fuel, and he'll be back on his way. So 2 cautions early, Mike, but not a lot of carnage. I've been in a couple races this week in the truck series, the fixed truck series, and when there's a wreck, usually it's big because there's not much you can do to avoid a wreck when the walls are quite close to each other on both sides of you. So these guys are doing a good job so far. They are wrecking, but they are minimizing the damage. So I guess that's a good way of looking at it, I suppose, at this point.
Yeah, the 17 doing an awesome job staying off that guy. And I tell you, we're going to send it down to pit road with Dalton England and Braden Oakley.
Yes, guys, it is looking really... this race is not going so good so far. Justin Brooks running really good. I don't know what was up there with that start. All I know is I seen the 15 go straight up in the wall, and I think we might see Brooks come down. Oh no, he's not coming down pit lane. We'll send it down there to Oakley, Brandon Oakley.
Yeah, guys, it's looking like a caution fest here, guys, tonight. I didn't quite see what happened, but like Dalton said, all I seen was the 15 in the wall.
Yeah, guys, I was talking to Steven Zesny before this race, and he said he was feeling really good about this race, and he was just gonna mentally play it out there till the end, and then go from there. And about last 20 laps, go to the front, and send it up there to the booth, Conti and Keaton.
All right, thank you, Dalton. And I tell you, getting word here, Conti, that Jake Poulin. Saying that they had communication coming back that they had gotten together in front of him. He checked up and goofed, and that's what spun that car around.
Yeah, it looks like that car is a little bit on the edge to begin with, Mike, and he just hit the brakes enough in an inopportune time and just looped it around. Maybe a little bit too much rear brake, like I initially said, but he's going to be okay. But the car I'm worried about right now is that one of Justin Brooks. He's got a lot of right side damage from that contact with the wall. Right now he's pulling up beside Greg McKinney. I'm sure McKinney's talking to him over the radio right now, letting him know if it's bad or not. But what I can see from up here, Mike, is that the one has a little bit of damage behind that right front wheel. Possibly the toe could be knocked out of that car. And at a fast place like this for handling, and actually surprisingly aerodynamics mean a lot, a little bit of toe damage could really end your night and possibly take Brooks out of contention for the win.
Yeah, and fans out there that's watching it that doesn't know too much about this track and exactly what Conti's talking about, it being fast. Hey, this is the world's fastest half mile. And Conti, you know just as well as I do, this track is tiny, but the speed that you carry in the corner and that you have to carry out of the corner with this up to 30-degree banking, that's what makes this track so fun and so fast. It's short and it's fast.
Right. I mean, it's like those guys with the motorcycles, you know, where they're on the high banking, they're just flying around and around and around. This is really how it's like with these cars. You just get these things wound up on the banking, and the momentum takes it. Speaking of momentum, the 6 carries great momentum on the start right there. One's just going to file in behind him this time, not going to try to make a move like he did the last time. Again, the race is for the 4th place right now, with Alex Scribner on the bottom, Armando Vargas. Here comes the battle for the lead. The 1's going to shove the 6 up the track a little bit. Here comes the 6 with momentum. If he can make it right here, he's going to get that momentum, Mike, and probably going to hold off that 1, but they're going to get real close right there. As you can see, 1's trying to hold him up the track, and he did it. Look at that power move by the 1 off turn 2 right there.
Little bit of right front damage on that. Justin Brooks machine taps the wall a little bit, Conti, but down the front stretch, Justin Brooks leading at Bristol with a wreck here.
All right, now we have carnage on the front stretch. I'm going to look back right here. Looks like the 21 car, I'm getting word Jeffrey Parker just got loose right there on the bottom, Mike. And with that less banking down there, your car really de-wedges itself and you get loose. He just got to the corner a little bit too hot, drifted all the way through the corner, finally came back up, and, 19 got him right there, I believe. That is Spangler. Yep, that is Spangler in the 19 right there. 17 had to avoid them. A little bit of front end damage on that 17, but it looks like 3 cars in total avoided in that right there, or involved in that right there. They wish that they avoided it, Mike.
Yeah, and one that definitely wishes they had avoided it was Matthew Spangler. I took a look on that onboard camera of that machine, and you know, I gotta say, Matt, you know, Spangler, when you go back and watch, there's no way you can check up. I mean, I couldn't even see the wreck happening from his perspective, so it was just too late. He piled into the 21, and man, he's wrecked.
Again, Spangler is one of those guys that is up in the points, like we talked about him earlier in this race. Spangler, a big mover from last week, up 18 positions from the 25th position to the 7th position, and really in contention to crack the top 5 with Adams not running, Doucette not running, Cater not running, Lott not running. I don't see Koenig in the top split. Maybe he's in the second split, but Spangler really could have capitalized tonight, possibly more than anyone else here. Maybe Scribner back there a couple points behind him was in that same boat, but really Spangler with that wreck, that really he's still going to be able to capitalize because those guys up in front of him are going to have, you know, a goose egg in their points total tonight, but he's not going to be able to make up as many points as he wanted to coming into this race, knowing that the opportunity would be there.
Yeah, and speaking of goose eggs and points, David Cater joining us in the chat room watching this race. He's sitting 4th in points, and he's not racing tonight. He set this one out, and just like I mentioned in pre-race, Conti, David moved up 15 spots last week, all the way from 19th to 4th. He's 30 behind Adams, who's your points leader. And, man, you know, Cater, you sit this one out, you're going to go right back to that 19th position, man. But enjoy in the chat room tonight with us, Cater.
Yeah, you know, I don't blame Cater for sitting this one out. Again, we have a couple drop weeks with this with the point standings that Brendan Mercer tabulates every week, so you can't afford to miss a couple of races. It won't hurt you in the long run as long as you get good points totals every other week. So Cater's going to be okay, and the rest of his teammates are going to be okay too. They know what they're doing. They're veterans of this series. Guys like Karlovic, he's been running, I believe, since season 1 of this Friday Night Showdown, so he knows what he's doing, and Crawford and all them do too. What I'm looking at right now is Greg McKinney pitted from 2nd position. He was the first one in. The 18 also pitted, and the 15 back there, Matthew Wright, came in as well. I'm going to send it down to Dalton to update us on what exactly they did when they came down pit road.
Yes, guys, Greg McKinney came down pit lane. They pulled some sheet metal out of that right front wheel. They were rubbing the wall a few in 3 and 4. I noticed that a little. And they came down and got the 4 tires, send it down there to Oakley, Braden Oakley, on the number 18.
Yes, guys, Justin Kirby came down, 4 tires and fuel. Maybe a little bit of a wedge adjustment. He looked a bit loose. A little bit loose. Send it back up to the booth, guys.
About to go green. Conti here, what might be the third or fourth time. Justin Brooks taking the green flag here. He passed McKinney there earlier, and now he's in the lead.
Brooks takes the lead, and he is stretching it over Alexi Loma right there. Alexi running the extreme high line. Here comes Scribner again, trying to work that bottom. Every time I see Scribner on these restarts, he's on the bottom. Looking at Danny Hansen back here in the 7-2. He's got a strong car. He's trying to work the bottom. Thinks better of it, drops back up, or moves back up high, that is. And right now, Brooks is really stretching that lead, Mike. He's already got a half a second lead over second place in the matter of a couple laps.
Tough break for Alex Scribner. Scribner stuck on the bottom line. Brad Mahar just on the outside. Also trying to make the pass now is the 22 of Stephen Landry as they get real close in 3.
Yeah, the 16 wants to get up top again, but Landry didn't want that to happen. Landry just stuck it back in there. 23 is going to try to squeeze him again. 7 is looking on as well as is Zenny back there. But again, we're clean and green. We're working lap 27 right here, coming to lap 28. And here we go again. Danny Hansen's going to try to pass the 16 up high. 16 going to try to squeeze him as well. But if I were the 16 right now, I would try to drop in behind that 7 car, which it looks like he is, as there's a hole there. There he goes. Because you do not want to be stuck on that bottom, Mike. You can see that you're not going to go anywhere down there with guys that are running very similar times here tonight, as we can see by the starting grid. A lot of guys within a half a tenth of each other, so really tight field again tonight.
Just to show you how important that high line is, Conti, Alex Scribner on that last restart started 3rd. He's sitting 7th right now. He's trained on the outside. He's got that car back on the high side as he's looking for that 6th spot again, as the 7 in front of him is past Stephen Landry for that number 5 spot.
No, that's a power move right there by the 7. That's how you have to do it, Mike. You saw right there, he got the run through the center, slid right up in front of Landry, halted Landry's momentum, and now Danny Hansen is just going to pull away from him. Hansen in that 7 looking strong tonight. Remember, we were talking about that number 7. He started way back in the field tonight, Mike. He started in 19th position. Right now, he's cracked the top 5, so great pit strategy by him so far, not to pit at all. It looks like tires don't really mean a thing when you can't pass here tonight, Mike.
Yeah, and mind you, all 22 race cars that started the event tonight, all blue decals on the back bumper, all A-class drivers. There's no pro drivers here tonight, Conti, but I'm telling you, these A-class drivers putting on a show now. At first, I was a little skeptical, but now we've seemed to have gotten into a good groove here.
Doing a great job so far. It looks like it's starting to get spread out. Here comes Armando Vargas in that Lowe's car on the bottom of Alexi Loma. Going to make a look, not going to do anything about it. But it looks like Mahar's starting to close in on them, and Hansen is also closing in on Mahar as we speak. But like I said, looks like we have packs of cars, if you get what I mean. You know, you're fighting really hard back there in that pack for about the 7th position back here. That's what happens. You got one car in the front of Landry. He's really holding up this pack as the 18 and the 2 get real close right there. And these guys are all just starting to stack up next to each other. And when you have a slower car in front of you and you can't pass the bottom, you are just along for the ride, and you really can't do much of anything.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That high line here, as you can see, the 2 going underneath the 16 into 1 here, seeing if he can put the move on the bottom, just like the 7 did earlier. As you can see, the 2 does have the run, slides up in front of the 16.
Scribner hits the wall right there. He does not look like he's got a car that can turn through the center like maybe that 14 can that just slid right up in front of him. 16 looks real tight in the center.
10.
We had a wreck right here, the number 10. No caution yet. 10, Armando Vargas is just going to spin around in the backstretch right there, but he is off the racing surface. Now there's a caution. So as he tries to spin himself back out onto the surface, he brings out that caution. So we know exactly what happened right there. It looks like the 10 just got a little bit loose coming off of turn 2 right there. A little bit of help from old Mahar back there in that Gary Mercer trucking car. Just helped him around just a little bit. 10, not really going to get any damage from that, Mike. He should be okay. That car looked good. Looked good before he got hit right there. He was making a charge, but just got a little bit of help around right there off 2, and there he went.
Yeah, nothing really he could do. It looked like the 10 car, I believe it was. Was it Armando Vargas?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like the 10 car just really nowhere to go. Looked like the guy in front of him got a little loose. He kind of bumped him, and Brad Mahar just one of those guys that's just sitting there. But I tell you what, leader down pit road here, Conti. Dalton?
Yes, guys. You know, Justin Brooks coming down pit lane. They're pulling out that sheet metal after some hard hits on the right side going into the wall. And, you know, they only took, only right sides. And looks like no gas. You know, so far you've seen caution, caution, caution. You notice Justin had that 1.7 second lead, and then I'm getting an update right now. Justin 2.59 optional repair, and we'll send it to Reed.
Alright guys, the 18 of Justin Kirby just came down pit road, took 4 tires and fuel. And also the number 6 car of Greg McKinney also came down pit road and got 4 tires and fuel. Made a little contact with the wall, so maybe pulled a little sheet metal out of the right front. Send it back up to use.
Conti, Danny Hansen going through pit road here, not stopping whatsoever. He's now your race leader.
Well, I don't know how that's going to work, but we're going to find out. We're going to send it away to commercial right now, but don't you turn that channel, man. We're going to be coming right back and strong with Green Flag Racing from the Bristol Motor Speedway.
Hey, JD here with ETV Live, and let me tell you something. If it's too big for the pickup truck and you need to move it, there's only one trucking company you need to call, and don't bother with the Yellow Pages, cowboy. I'll give you that number in a minute. Manufactured goods, automotive, technical equipment, furniture, even if you need a reefer, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated is the only choice, cowboy. With locations in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, Rancho Cucamonga, California, if you need to move it, store it, and keep it cold, you need to call Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated. Long haul, short haul, or just across town, Gary Mercer has the best trained and qualified drivers to get your load from point A to point B with professionalism and on time. So remember, Hoss, if it don't fit in a pickup truck, you're going to need a real truck, cowboy. Sponsors of ETV Live's Friday Night Showdown, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated, 1-800-668-2980.
Racing, Danny. Back live here, and you didn't miss a thing. That's right. Caution again, Conti, on the speedway.
It looks like the 18 just got a big wiggle down there in the bottom and just spun up into traffic right there. Matt, did you see who might have hit the 18 after he spun up high up the hill? Did you see who that was?
No, I'm trying to cue that back right now, actually. I'm watching this lap as they're coming around.
Maybe Petrella, possibly? I'm not sure, though. I really can't
like
tell.
He just gets loose on the bottom, and when he spins up, he gets that number 14 car, and that's the number 14 car of Jake Petrella, like you said. Doesn't look like he has too heavy damage on that, but he'll definitely have to come down pit road for a few minutes of optional repairs on that car.
Looks like the 13 of Landry also got involved a little bit after the fact. The 16 again, a lot of rear brake in these cars tonight, as we can see, as these guys are really getting sideways as they're trying to avoid wrecks here. 16 goes down to turn 3 right there, gets loose on entry, trying to stop. 13 gets into the side of him a little bit. 13 nails off the right front. That's going to be a lot of damage to fix for him. But again, just it seems like that bottom can really de-wedge these cars, guys, and it's really throwing these guys big tantrums when they get these cars in the bottom. It seems like they cannot hold them down there, especially on fresh tires. It's just too loose for them.
I mean, you have to think of all that low. They have much less banking on the bottom down there, and when they're up on that high side, they want to loose their car like that because that's what's getting them fast around that high outside line right by the wall as they're going around this track. And when you just put less banking on a setup like that, it just wants to whip the tail end of that car right around.
Guys, on that restart, I was kind of worried with the number 7 machine of Danny Hansen, but I'm going to tell you something. He got one heck of a start on Justin Brooks, took care of business, didn't spin the tires, and so I think Hansen's got some good tires on that machine.
You got a good setup under that thing too. That's one of my teammates right there, man. And we worked on that thing, not a whole lot, but again, we were talking about it in the radio show. A lot of the DWC teams have found that special Hendrick package that Brad Keselowski doesn't seem to like in real life. So we found out how to really emulate that, and we put it in this nationwide car, and it didn't work right off the bat. There was a lot of things we had to do to it. But it really has turned into a great setup, and I'm going to send it down to JD Webb right now in Race Central.
All right, guys, working, I believe, the third caution of the night here. 48 laps in the book, so we're getting to the downhill side here just momentarily. I want to tell you about the VRC Mark II virtual racing seat. Now, Cowboy, this is a simulation racing cockpit designed by championship race car driver Bob Earl. Now, who better that understands what it means to have a comfortable racing seat than a real race car driver? This design features a fully adjustable racing seat and frame, additional monitor stand and shifter mount sold separately. A high quality and affordable alternative to a lot of those others out there that cost $1,000 or more. $349 plus shipping. See it at BobEarlRacing.com. Let's go back up to the booth to Michael Conti and Michael Keaton.
Another great restart by Danny Hansen on those old tires again. Did not spin the tires. Here comes the one of Justin Brooks with a big head of momentum right there. He gets into the wall a little bit. Justin's trying to narrow that car up, but it looks like the tires are starting to equalize just a little bit. Looks like the 7's tires have cooled down, and Danny Hansen's starting to pull the one up. Maybe not. Here comes the one. Big run off the top right there. He's going to try to take it low on the 7. 7's going to brush the wall right there. Hansen's going to get a good run up off that corner. Oh, hits the wall a little bit harder that time. That's going to leave a mark right there.
Yeah, it looked like the one got on the inside of the 7, took advantage of that, pulled up in front of him, Conti and Matt, and got the position. So, awesome pass on the inside by Justin Brooks over that Hansen car.
Here comes the 2 right here, Devin Hall, another front runner. He's on the top of Brad Mayhar. Mayhar trying to make a move in the bottom, but it looght like Mayhar is going to start to get freight trained as well. Mayhar, oh, that was a little bit close right there. Mayhar tried to pinch the 6 of McKinney right there, and that was almost bad, but Mayhar is going to get back up in line and settle into the 4th position. From what I can see right here, guys, it looks like it's single file freight train all the way back through the field. No one really trying to make any moves at this point.
I mean, we heard the drivers talking all day today about that high line, man, and they're saying if you really want to pass somebody on the low line, you got to run them hard and almost put them in that outside wall, and that's just a huge worry here. You don't want to really be wrecking people, but it's just so easy to do when you're trying to pass on that low line.
Yeah, and it makes sense too, Matt. I mean, if you can get that guy, squeeze that guy up on that wall just enough where he kind of brushes it and loses that momentum coming out of the corner. That's what me and Conti was talking about. The momentum that's on the high side out of the corners is just so good.
It certainly is, and we've seen that all night. I mean, Alex Scribner went from the 4th position back to outside the top 10 because he was mired on the bottom as the 2 is on the bottom, and he hits the bump right there. Here comes the 4. Now the 2 is going to get mired on the bottom right here. So again, we can just see that the bottom is not going to work. I mean, if there's someone maybe 3-4 tenths slower than you that's running the top, okay, you can pass them on the bottom. But these guys are running close enough to where that bottom just does not get enough momentum off the corners. I got a little bit excited right there when the 20 car came in the screen, guys. That thing is still yawed out pretty bad. But luckily for him, it looks like his ping problems have resided. He's back down to a green ping, so all good on the internet connection side for the 20. However, the mechanical side is not looking as well, guys.
I mean, I watched the 2 try and make that pass on the 7 a couple laps ago here at Bristol, and I mean, he just dove down on that inside, and he was trying to take away, I believe it was the 2nd position from the number 7, and doing that, he actually cost himself a whole nother. He cost himself to lose 3rd place and put him back in 4th because, like you guys said, that huge momentum run they get on that high side. When you put yourself down the low side, you're going to trap yourself there for maybe losing a few more positions if you can't quite clear the car you're trying to on the exit of the turn.
And meanwhile, Conti, number 1, Justin Brooks checking out from the field. Danny Hansen running 2nd, Brad Mahar 3rd, Devin Hall running in that 4th machine, and Greg McKinney running out the top 5 for now.
It looks like the 7 of Hansen on those old tires really is holding up the cars behind him, but it looks like himself and Mahar have separated themselves away from Devin Hall just a little bit right there. Hall looks like he's maybe overheated that right front. Here comes McKinney on the bottom. McKinney's going to try to make that move, but again, it's not going to work. Now he's got the 15 right all over his bumper right there. But again, Justin Brooks is set sail. 7 hits the wall just a little bit once again. Brooks out in front by about a second right there. Looking at lap times right now, it looks like he's about a 1/10 of a second quicker than 2nd on back. So it looks like those tires really helped Brooks out, and it looks like he's got a great car tonight. However, I would like to see that 7 on fresh tires, guys. I think he might have something for him here over the long haul.
Back towards the end of the field, we have a hard battle for, it looks like, the 8th position between number 11 of Chris Seymour, as we see the number 12 get up into the wall. The number 12 of Steven, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, is Zenny. And then we've got the 16 car who's out front right now of Alex Scribber, and they were just having a hard-fought battle for that 8th place as Alex Scribber got the run on the high side and started to pull out by a few tenths here.
Hey, I got to tell you something. Matthew Wright, guys, running in that number 6 position. Car number 15 running that Bob Evans Restaurant Chevrolet race machine. But up back in the front, Brad Mahar trying to put the 7 back to 3rd.
And Danny got a little bit overexcited right there getting in. He slapped that wall in the center of the corner right there. But he did get a good run off. He's going to get another good run off right here if he can get that car to turn. Looks like the 7's getting real tight in those old tires, guys. Looks like he's got some decent right side damage. Here comes Mahar. Mahar is going to slide up in front of him. Good move by the 4 right there to pass that 7 on the bottom. Here comes Devin Hall. He's going to give it one more try. McKinney's going to look for 3 wide right there. Oh, there's not enough room right there for that. But it looks like the 7 is really starting to go backward. He's in the 16-second bracket now. One of the only cars up in that lead pack that is in the 16-second bracket. Everyone else is in the high 15s right now. So that 7 is really starting to suffer speed-wise as the 6. Oh, they get real tight right there. A little bit of Bristol beating and banging for the fans out there, guys. 7 and the 6 and the 15 getting real close right there. But good hard racing right now. We're on a pretty decent-sized green flag run, guys. Been green for quite a while now.
Back in the 11th position, that 12 car of Steven Azeni. We saw him get in the wall a couple laps ago, and he's just continuing to fall back. He's also in that 16-second bracket and falling back, but he's got that high side on the number 3 of Brandon Bowie right now, and that's just really helping him to maintain that position and stay ahead of those cars that are behind him.
Greg McKinney and the number 6 Conti and the number 7 Danny Hansen side by side for the last 2 laps. I'm hearing 3 wide with a 15 possibly putting a nose in.
The 15 thought about it right there, but knew that wasn't going to work, and he actually ended up losing a position of 2 Armando Vargas from that 10 car. Remember, Vargas was the one who got helped around off turn 2 right there, off the bumper of Mahar. So Vargas has made a good rebound up front. Here comes the 7 and the 6. 6 is going to make that move on the 7 right there. I'm looking again. It looks like the car up in front of him, that lap car, the 19 of Spangler, also having some connection issues. As the 10 gets real close, the 10's going to slide right there. 7's going to give him room. 7 gets a huge run up off the corner. Here comes the 18. 16, I'm sorry. 16 is Scribner back in the picture. So Scribner was going in the wrong direction that first run, but looks like whatever they did to that car in the last run has really paid off as he's starting to make his move back forward.
Greg with a 22, the 18 Justin Kirby, Stephen Landry, the 8 machine of John Button involved, all running 13th. Looks like 13th, 12th.
Oh wow. Wow,
14th.
Looks like the 8 right there, Mike and Matt. They just the 8 cut right across the 12's bumper. I guess the spotter was sleeping up there. Not the first time we've seen a wreck on the straightaway in this series this season, but just tried to clear himself off the 12's bumper and just not enough room up there. And unfortunately, with that, you got the 22 involved a little bit, Justin Kirby involved. That's about it. So 4 cars right there suffering some damage. It looks like the 8 is going to get the brunt of that damage right there.
Justin Brooks leading them down Bristol Motor Speedway. 80 laps into this 120-lap event. 35 miles an hour. Justin Brooks down on pit road, Dalton.
Yeah, number 1 of Justin Brooks coming down pit lane. 4 tires, I hear, and a full tank of fuel. And the number 6 of Greg McKinney is also coming down. He overshot his pit stall. Looks like that's going to cost him a few seconds. 4 tires, and he'll be away. Let's send it down to Brandon.
Alright guys, the number 4 of Brad Hart coming down pit road got 4 tires and fuel, and number 7 of Danny Hansen, that one of the front runners out there, just came down, got 4 tires and fuel, and fixing some damage on that Chevrolet.
Looks like the 7 right there, guys. It looked like you said, Braden, he spent those extra couple of seconds to repair the right side of that car. We're just going to have to see if he can make up that track position again that he did gain by staying out involuntarily that last time, but he did stay out, and he did gain track position. Now he's lost all that. But again, we're going to send it away to commercial. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be right back with action from the Bristol Motor Speedway.
And we are back, race fans. The number 4 machine of Brad Mahar. No caution, but man, Brad Mahar taking a big hit. What a crazy restart.
Oh, Mahar is involved, or is in trouble. The 2 is in trouble down the back stretch. 15 almost hit the 4 right there. McKinney went spinning down the front stretch. No caution for that. A lot of action. We got a lot of cars stopped in the bottom right there. It looks like the 13 is bent up. I mean, there was some big problems as the 15's in the wall once again. 4 is going to come down pit road this time, get that damage repaired. We know what he's going to be doing.
Looking at the leader of Justin Brooks, it's pulled out by, it looks about 1.7 seconds over the field right now. And Devin Hall is in 2nd place. Chris Seymour, Danny Hansen, and Armando Vargas rounds out your top 5 right now. You saw Armando get tied in that last one of the wrecks earlier on in the race, but he's charged back here towards the front is the 5 of Aleski Elema. It looks like he's closely following him, trying to hump him down for that 5th place position, maybe get himself a top 5 tonight.
Man, tell you what, tough race for Jake Petrella, Brad Mahar, Greg McKinney, also the 20 involved, Jeff Ramsdale involved in the wreck again, but no caution. But wow, what a strange turn of events here when that green flag came back out.
We're watching that 12 continue to struggle of Steven Azeni. He did get some damage in that last caution, I believe, and he's using that high side to try and stay off some of these drivers. But I may be hearing that the leader's in some of the trouble right now with some of the lap cars.
Yeah, and Dalton England with an update from pit road. Dalton?
Yes, I'm down here on pit lane, guys. Matthew Wright just got done talking to his crew chief. If you notice, they were up there in the top 5 coming out of that restart. And honestly, they said, you know, that stroke didn't really, it fell the other way. It didn't fall their way. But they're looking, they said setup comes in around lap 70, 80. So hopefully you'll see him come back up here. I remember from Indianapolis, he was very tough there at the end. Send it back up there to the booth.
Yep, and I've rewind this back. The number 1 of Justin Brooks, your leader, and who's been dominating most of this race tonight, as he came out of, I believe it's turn 4, yep. He gets right into the back of the 20, and that number 9 car of Nick Zotner is on his outside, and he just has nowhere to go, and he almost spins himself and wrecks himself on the front straightaway, but able to drive away, maybe some damage on those rear corner panels.
Yeah, Justin Brooks still being shown the race leader. Devin Hall, though, is in pursuit. Last time by, just a tick faster. This time by, Devin Hall, 2 ticks faster. The 2 is catching that number 1 machine.
I mean, we can also see this could be part of that damage the 1 could have got from those past incidents that he just got with the lap cars, as the 2 car continues to chase him down. Devin Hall looking to get a win tonight. With it looks we have about 20 laps to go, 22 laps to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
The rear end of Justin Brooks' design Chevrolet just a little bit dented in, but the right front is telling all the tale. It's pretty much caved in there, Matt. The number 1 machine, last time by, a tick slower than Devin Hall, who's running him down, coming out of 4.
I went into the cockpit view of Justin Brooks. I'm looking on that cockpit camera he's got in his car tonight, and it looks like he's really wrestling that steering wheel inside that car. There's got to be some extensive toe damage and camber damage to that right front tire.
Here's the trick, though, Conti. Devin Hall, we're talking and discussing Devin Hall running down the number 1 of Justin Brooks. He's on the back door, nearly bumper to bumper, but can he make the pass? That's what we've been talking about all night long. He can get there, but how can he make the pass?
Well, first he doesn't need to be hitting the wall in the center of the corners. That's not going to help him. He's going to have to hit him. I don't see him passing the 1 on the bottom. The 19 is getting real funky down there on the bottom with this connection again. But the 2's just going to have to move the 1 out of the way. Simple as that, man. It's just how it's going to work. I don't know if the 1's going to like that. I don't know if the 2 wants to really do that. But it's Bristol, and there's going to be contact, and I think the only way for that 2 to get around this 1 is for him just to put the bumper to the 1 right there and just scoot him up the track just enough to get inside of him, get that run up off the corner, and just set sail. So obviously he's faster, as we can see right here.
Danny Hansen just a couple hundredths of a second faster that last lap, as he's also now in pursuit of the leaders. We were talking about him falling back, but now he's in hot pursuit, trying to chase down that battle for the lead as he knocks off another 10th that last lap.
The deuce is loose, Conti. The number 2 looking again underneath, maybe on the 1 of Justin Brooks. He's in the wall a little bit. Man, Justin's really battling a tight race car, although last time by just a tick faster than the number 2.
Yeah, it looks like Hall. I mean, Brooks. They're just both cars don't look like they're driving very well right now. It looks like Brooks looks like he's got a lot of damage right now, and that's not helping him. The 2, if he keeps slapping the wall like that, he's going to be in the same predicament. It looks like the 7 is actually starting to catch him now. Hansen, he's cut that lead down just a little bit. So as these guys are, I think these guys are slowing each other up. They're getting in each other's heads, and they're making a lot of unforced errors right now up in front.
Back for a top 5 position, Armando Vargas is being chased down by Lesky Elamar as they head into turn 3 and 4. They're both going on that high side. They got some lap traffic they're going to have to deal with as they're also running down Chris Seymour in that 4th position. And it's going to heat up for a battle real quick right here, guys.
Yeah, I'm watching that battle and the number 1 and number 2 battle. The 5 of Aleski is all over the back door of Vargas, and Seymour just ahead in 4th, almost getting a little love tap from Armando, and really, really close nose-to-tail racing here at Bristol, Conti.
Here we go, battle for the lead. 2's going to look down low in the 1. That's not going to work. He's going to lose time by doing that. Oh, maybe not. Okay, here he comes. 1's going to get that big run up off the corner while they're doing this. Danny Hansen has cut a half a second off that lead the past 10 laps, so Hansen's coming in a hurry. This is starting to remind me of that 2003 Darlington finish, guys. You got Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch up here, with Dave Blaney just kind of lurking in the background. As we have a caution now, that's gonna affect it right here, guys. I don't know how this is gonna work. I'm hearing the 10 is around of Vargas for the second time tonight. This is really gonna throw a curveball at these guys up front.
It looks like that 10 of Vargas just gets slightly into the left front of the number 5 Aleski Elma as they're heading down the front stretch, and he just spins into turn 1. Nothing he can do. Heavy damage on that left side of the number 10 car.
Conti, man, what do you do? 17 to go, 16 when they pass the line. Pits are open. Doesn't look like Brooks is coming down.
Yeah,
6 to go, yeah.
Yeah, and I wouldn't expect him to come down pit road at 6 to go. No one's coming down pit road yet. Maybe if it was 16 to go, maybe he would come down. But still, track position is still important. Tires are important too. I mean, we saw the 7 was a sitting duck out there with the old tires. So they're just going to stay out right here and they're going to fight between themselves here. They're probably going to have a couple lap shootout. I'm going to send down to Dalton for a little bit more information on the 1 car, Justin Brooks.
Yes, guys, Justin Brooks just got done talking to the crew chief. He said if they came down pit lane on this caution, they're looking at over 4 minutes of optional repairs. You know, and like Conti said earlier, it looks like camber. Looks like a, you know, honestly, I don't know what's going on inside that car. But like Conti said, he is fighting the wheel like crazy. I don't know if Hall can pull it off here. He's gonna have that high line. Thing about iRacing is when you're the leader, you can't pick high or low. So that's the thing that's gonna come in really good. It's gonna come in interesting here. And send it back up there to the booth, Conti and Keaton.
All right, Justin Brooks in the lead. Devin Hall running that deuce just as loose as possible in that number 2 spot. Danny Hansen, Conti's guy, running 3rd. Chris Seymour running in that number 4 spot, and Aleski Aloma rounding out the top 5 here, guys.
I mean, we really should pay attention to that number 7 of Danny Hansen. He was making a hard charge on those leaders, and his car looks a lot cleaner than theirs does at the closing laps of this race. And I mean, he's just going to hope that that 1 car of Justin Brooks gets a good restart, and he'll be able to follow him right up and get to that high line as quick as possible and start making moves on the 2 to get to the 1 and possibly come out with a win here tonight.
Yeah, that it's really gonna matter for Danny to win this thing at this point. My opinion, it just seems like the 1 and the 2 are gonna have to slip up and really cause each other to lose a lot of time. Maybe if they get into each other or something like that, maybe the 7 can slip under him. But the 1 and the 2 stay single file and stay on pace. I don't think the 7 can pass 2 cars that quickly on the bottom. I mean, we've really seen it tonight. That bottom is useless. Quite frankly, that bottom, they might as well just take it out, because you cannot use it unless the guy up top slips up, or you're just way faster. And you know, with 2 to go when we get back green here, guys, the bottom, you're just not going to have enough time to try to make anything happen on the bottom. It's going to be about getting to the top of that guy and trying to get the run up off the corner and trying to complete that pass.
Green, white, checkered, guys. Pace lights off of that pace car. The 1 kind of laying back just a little bit. Entering 3 right here, Devin Hall is going to have some sort of a miracle restart here. Conti, call it to the green here at Bristol Motor Speedway. 2 to go.
Here comes the 1, big jump for the 1. I could have told you that was going to happen, and he just schooled them on that restart right there. I mean, there was no, oh, the 2, hits the wall hard. That's going to give Hansen the bottom right there. Hansen's going to slide up in front of him. 2, I hope the 2 lets off. 2's going to try to hit the 7. 2's having connection problems right now. That might not help that at all as the 7 gets real close to the wall. White flag right there, guys. Justin Brooks is in command of this thing. If he doesn't do anything wrong right here, if he does not slip up, he's going to have it. The battle's going to be for second right here. Here comes Hansen. Here comes Hall. Justin Brooks is going to come off a turn 4. He's going to win this thing right here. Hall's going to try to hold on to third, and he's going to do it. There you go. Justin Brooks is your winner tonight. Danny Hansen second. Devin Hall third. Chris Seymour out of nowhere. I haven't talked about him tonight in the 4th position. Rounding out your top 5, Alexi Loma. So it was a great finish right there. I wish that was the battle for first right there, but you know, it was a good race. It was actually cleaner than I thought, guys. You know, we got a couple long green flag runs in. That was a really nice thing to see here tonight after what I've seen in other races this week.
I mean, guys, we were looking at an amazing finish there for second place as Danny Hansen was able to get by the number 2 of Devin Hall. He slipped up going into 1 and just got into the wall a little bit and got loose off the turn, it looks like, checking up and everything. It was just hard fought battle for second, and then he was able to hold on to third, barely over Chris Seymour by just half a tenth a second for his third place, and it was just an amazing finish for those guys tonight. Congratulations to the number 1 of Justin Brooks, and I mean, some of the guys we thought would gain big points here over John Adams because he wasn't going to be able to race this series anymore didn't so much because they were able to they got wrecked out.
Pretty good finish for Alex Scribner. We talked about him earlier on this whole race. He'd been battling issues with that car. Not sure if it was too tight, too loose, what the deal was, but nonetheless, Alex Scribner in that number 16 machine coming home in 6th. Steven Ezanai in the number 12 machine finishing 7th. Matthew Wright, who's trying to make his way up into the top 10 in points, he ran 8th tonight. Jake Pulin in that number 17 machine ran 9th. And Conti, just like we talked about, Stephen Landry, number 22, last car to make the field. Hey, come in here, stay out of trouble, get a top 10 finish, and go home.
That'll be a big ironing gain for Landry, so I'm sure he'll like to see that. Looking back here, Brandon Bowie not getting the finish he wanted to. That's 11th. Vargas 12th. Everyone behind him just had a train wreck of a night, all many laps down with a lot of damage. So yeah, that's your top 12 right there. Your top 12 came away from this pretty cleanly, I'd have to say.
And joining the booth, and I've got a question for him, and then we'll pass it down to Conti, and then Matt will all have a turn at him. But Justin Brooks in the number 1 machine. Justin, tell us about the race, bud. Tell us about the battle with the number 2, and you know, tell us about the cautions and just what your thoughts were of the whole race.
First off, before I go talking about the race, I'd like to thank Jason Loafing for the amazing setup. I wasn't planning to run this race. I had a lot of stuff planned tonight, and he told me to get on an hour before the race. He had a pretty good setup. I went in there and tried it, and I liked it, so I decided to race at the last second, considering having a race in a month. And going on to the race, it was a pretty good race. I got really bad damage early on. I couldn't turn from center off. You could probably tell after 5 laps, Devin and Brad Mayhar, Danny Hansen, all of them were gaining on me after about 5 laps. I had about 4 minutes of optional repair, and it was just killing me in the corners. But somehow managed with all the late cautions and all that to stay up front with all pit strategy and everything, taking 2 tires to secure my first win here in Friday night B-Car Series.
All right, so Brooks, you know, I know that you've had pedal problems in the past couple weeks. When exactly did you get your pedals, and are these new pedals better than your old ones? Are they helping your performance out at all, or was that setup just on rails tonight?
I mean, the pedals will definitely help. I'm not having to worry about my throttle sticking or not getting 100% throttle down the straightaway. They're definitely helping, but all the credit for the night doesn't go to me. You know, it goes to that setup. Like I said, that's probably the best setup I've ever driven in a long time in the B-Car Series, probably since Richmond in April when I ran second the whole race to Karlovich. And, I mean, that thing was just on a rail. I wish I could have shown what, you know, its full capability was out front without the damage on it, because I think I could have walked away from the guys. But, you know, it's just how the nature of the Friday Night B-Car Series. Anything can happen. You know, the fastest car never wins, but somehow I lucked into that one there.
Alrighty, Justin. Well, good win. Good job keeping your nose as clean as possible for Bristol. It's hard to do that, as we saw tonight. That's your winner, guys. I'm going to send it down to Matt, who's caught up with Devin Hall, your third place finisher here tonight at Bristol.
Yep, I'm down here with Devin Hall on pit road, and Devin, and man, it looked like you had a nice hard-fought battle. We thought you were going to get the lead when you chased down Brooks in that final stint there right before we got that final caution. You just drove it too hard into one. You want to explain a little bit what happened with you tonight?
Yeah, I want to start by saying I actually moved over to a new team this season I'm going to work with, and thanks Nexus and Armando Vargas for the setup that they gave me. I used it as a base and made a bunch of tweaks to it because I wasn't real happy with it. But anyway, back to your question. The car was really good, and Justin had some unfortunate issues with lap cars up in front and slowed him down a bit, and I was able to catch him. And I knew he had a bunch of damage. And I was just going to try to ride behind him for a while. I wasn't really going to push the issue until 7, 8 to go. And about the time I got ready to start, pushing and making issues, caution came out. And, well, I spun the tires on the restart, and the rest is history. And good win to my bud, Justin.
All right, I'm just going to give you a few final moments here if you want to thank anybody else out there, family, friends, whoever.
Yeah, well, I've got a few friends watching the race tonight. Brady Hart, he's actually sitting right here behind me. He watched me run. And a friend back in Americus, Georgia, Shelly Godwin, she's running tonight, or watching tonight. And, I just want to thank everybody that, helped me on the setup. They did a bunch of work, lights out job. And, I just have enjoyed working with Justin over the past 2 seasons. And I have the most respect for that guy. So I'm really glad he picked up the win tonight. And good job, buddy. Many more come.
All right, congratulations to you, Devin. I'm just going to send it back up to the booth with Keaton and Conti. What do you guys got?
Man, I tell you, the native from Carolina, Justin Brooks, getting it done tonight, Conti. And we couldn't get a hold of Danny Hansen, but man, what a race that he put on that number 7 machine, staying out on some old tires and showing Justin Brooks, hey man, I've got this car set up just the way I want it, thanks to Conti.
Me and Jason Loafing, it was a group effort this week, and I'm glad that that piece could go out and dominate when that race looked like the 7 was great also. So good to see 2 J-Show chassis up there doing well. And as I said before, it was a pretty darn good Bristol race. Fairly clean, a lot of green flag runs, a 41-lap green flag run somewhere in that race. So good job by those guys. And once again, they've put on a great show for us, like they've done the past 4 seasons now. Four seasons now. We're on season 5 now. So great job of these guys. And next week we'll be at Atlanta, fast-paced, mile-and-a-half, a lot of bumps. Gonna have to get that car set up real well there if you want to be up front and try to get a shot at winning it. So we'll see what happens. But again, congratulations to Justin Brooks and everyone who came out of Bristol tonight with a somewhat clean car. Pat on the back to you as well.
Very well said, Conti. And closing thoughts from me. Hey, great race at Bristol. Had a nice green flag style run to it, and can't wait, like Conti said, to get to hot Atlanta. I'm going there myself. The truck race coming up next Friday night. Can't wait to just see what the track looks like in real life, and can't wait to see the action next Friday night. JD, back up to the booth with you, bud, at Race Central.
You bet. I'll tell you what, another night of racing in the can here on ETV Live. Friday night showdown, and what a showdown at Bristol Motor Speedway. I want to thank Mike Conti, Matthew Close, Dalton England, Braden Oakley for joining us tonight. Of course, magic fingers on the cameras. There ain't no better, Cowboy. And of course, Batman, Michael Keaton for calling the action here tonight. Congratulations to all the winners here. Want to remind you, you can catch this race again, Cowboy. Just get on over to utv-eplay.net. We'll have it up on the Twitch site, and better yet, check out the YouTube to archives all of our races up there. Over 650 races, dude. So give us a few minutes, and we'll get tonight's race up on the archive site as well. But a lot more coming on ETV Live. Hey, you want to check this one out, Cowboy? Wesley Outland and Michael Neff join us on Tuesday at 7 to 9 p.m. This is the And the Winner Is Motorsports Show. Wesley Outland, a celebrity track announcer from all over, Cowboy. You don't want to miss his show. Lots of fun. So I'll tell you what, for all the boys up here in the booth, ETV Live, we're going to go ahead and check on out of here and get ready for the next one. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.